All right, what's going on, everyone? I'm gonna give a quick video analysis on Tesla Alert, the one specifically that ran 350%. If we scroll up, let's take a look. That was about 2 weeks ago. Okay, so 350% on 10.7, alerted on 10.3. So let's take a look at the chart and on 10.3 and then follow it throughout the week to see where we ended up at 350%. Let's see. Entered that one at 265 a contract. All right. So we go to 10.3. That would be this day here. Okay, so we entered during this candle bar here. So why did I take... We're going to go from step-by-step time frame from the bigger ones to the smaller ones. Obviously, we'll start at the daily. So let's take a look here. All right, obviously a pretty standard downtrend, pretty consistent. Draw some charts here. All right, so we got those lower highs, and we failed to come back to this upper range right up in here. But that's on a bigger time frame. That's for playing, doing some type of play months in advance, weeks, months in advance. If you're doing something for a day trade, a couple of days, swing, up to a week or so, the daily time frame is important, but it's not as important. So if we take a zoom in here, this is where I was looking at right here. This area here. So what's important about this to notice is the triple top, right? So triple top, especially on a big cap like Tesla, is really telling of where it's going to go. Super tight range in here and in here, pretty strong support. What I mentioned to you guys is we broke this support right here. If we break this one down here, where we got a potential for a triple bottom, then this could have gone up this way, maybe hit more resistance here, but then came back to the midline to test this trend line up here. But that was not what happened. So breaking this trend line is what caused me to enter in on this trade, on this candle bar right here. We'll take a look closer, a little bit closer in there. So let's get rid of all those. Okay. I'm going to reset the chart. And we're going to go to, let's go to an hour. Okay. So let's see, 10.3. Probably going to be right here. Yeah. So we entered in here. If I can get it to zoom. Right in here, this day right here. Let's see if I can see the exact time that I alerted it. Let me check on my PC. All right, at 10:51 a.m. we entered this trade. So that's within this this candle bar right here, or rather, right on the edge of right in between these two candles. So looking at this one here, when we entered that, we had that initial downward movement down to here, which gave us that plus 50%, which of course I'm more than happy with. My price targets for any options trade is always a minimum of 20%. If you're consistent, with 20%, that'll scale pretty quickly. But more, if you're consistent, even with like 40%, is an even better spot to be. You do 40%. You start with $100, say. Do 40% in 6 weeks. If you can consistently hit 40% 3 times a week, then you're definitely looking at hitting, into the 5 figures in profits, which is insane in such a short amount of time. It's just about being consistent and not being too greedy with your plays, not looking to win big quick. Consistency is where it's all about. But this was just a shot of a day. You know, that was after the news broke out that Tesla was offering to buy Twitter back at the original price after fighting it. So, of course, a little bit of a dead cat bounce here. So we came down, a little bit of a dead cat bounce into the next day. But, you know, we see this candle here. Obviously, that's not going to hold. So that's definitely continued downwards. But let's look even closer on the third to see what really made me enter that. Of course, looking here, we have this constant downward, this downward movement momentum. So down, down, down. That's just following a trend at this point, right? Like we're in this channel here. So that's a huge component of whenever I make a trade, is making sure that you look at the trends. I'm a huge technical trader. I trade more so on the chart rather than, you know, the technicals of a particular stock, unless I'm looking at it long term. But purely for day trading, swing standpoint, I'm definitely looking more into the the technicals of the chart. But let's scroll in here we'll go right down to the minute, and we'll run it back to, this is today, but we'll run it right back to the third. It's gonna take a second for me to get there. All right, we'll do 5 minutes. Great. Okay, so this is the third right here. So we look at this, and why specifically did I enter in right around, let's see where 10:30 is. So that was around right here. So I entered right at the peak here before we continued down for the day. So that was where we kind of entered in for the 50%. So we have a very clear, you know, huge spike down, a little bit of a bounce, but failure to get anywhere near retaking the high. So we kind of this bearish, almost bearish flag forming in here. Something like this. And once we hit that peak right here, that's where I entered. This is a very simple setup, a bear flag. And just continuing down to here, selling, you know, around this area, dropping all of our stock here, or our options rather, allowed us to get that 50%. But again, very simple idea here with a bear flag. So I can go ahead and just draw out what a typical flag looks like. This one's atypical, seeing that it bounced up a little bit more from the base of the flag. But typically you'll have, you know, something like this. If we're doing a bear flag, we'll have down. Now this is the base, and then we're up, down, down. And it creates kind of this wedge almost, and that'll almost always continue to break down like that. Of course it won't always, but more often than not it will. Forgive the drawing, but I want to make sure that you guys can all kind of see this and understand it a little bit clearly. So yeah, that's the basics of what kind of led us to this play, bear flag. And it just, you know, on a bigger time frame, why we led to 350% was the breakdown of the triple top that I showed you earlier in the video. But a basic triple top would look like this, right? So we go up, 1 top, 2 top, 3 top, and then down. And that's exactly what happened. Of course, there's always a chance that we get a triple bottom combined with a triple top. That's less common, and more often than not, it get rejected a 4th time, bounce off the mid lane, and then hop up. And you'll always see kind of a resistance and support right in the middle. So if we go ahead and go back to daily time frame, I can show you that there is most likely that. Yeah, so we've got top 1, top 2, top 3, and then we would have bottom 1, bottom 2, bottom 3. Had this gone up again, but for the time being, there's kind of this midline support, resistance, or demand zone here. So we followed pretty typical triple top here, but let's just, if we pretended none of this happened, right? Then what could have happened here is we would have gone down, triple bottom, up, kind of hit this demand zone here, may have fallen back down and continued down, or another idea that could have happened is, this is why you never really know, but you stick to the technical patterns, and there's a much higher chance that it'll fall through, but of course there's other indicators that lead you to believe whether or not a pattern is going to continue through, which is why I did not buy here, because we bounced, right? We had that triple bottom bounce, so I was hesitant to buy in on puts here, just for the simple fact that we bounced. This candle right here, this one with the long wick, was a little more telling to me that we would continue down, but as soon as we gapped down in this little area here, I was like, okay, that's definitely a sure sign that the pattern is playing out. We got 1, 2, 3 down. That's my analysis on that Tesla play. If you guys have any questions, just shoot me a DM. I'll answer to the best I can. I'll have more videos out like this, and you guys can also shoot me a DM or talk about it with yourselves, any specific videos you'd like to see, and I'd be more than happy to cover them in a video like this. Talk to you guys later.